My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we're talking about Illusion of Gaia, or Illusion of Time, if you're in Europe, which is an action RPG that was developed by Quintet and published by Nintendo for the SNES in 1994.
Yeah, 3 little special things. 1, executive produced by Matt. Thank you, Matt. 2, it is our premium episode for the month.
Yep.
So everyone's going to get these generalities, and then patrons will get the play-by-play. And then 3, this finishes out the Quintet quartet.
Yeah. Not everybody throws ActRaiser in there, but I think that's weird.
They have a couple other games, but they're not really related.
Yeah. It is a strange studio, and these are very strange games that are very beloved.
Yes. And we're here on the perch to get yelled at.
Here in the stockades saying, I think they're fine, and that's it.
Yep. And getting yelled at. In this game, you play as Will. You are a child who goes searching for his father, who went missing after a failed expedition to the Tower of Babel.
Yes.
That Tower of Babel.
That one. The game takes place in this kind of heavily fictionalized and fantasyized version of Earth, roughly during the Age of Discovery. And Will's quest takes him to these kind of rough versions of ancient wonders to collect these sacred statues. You need 6 of them bad boys.
Yep. Got to go get the MacGuffies. The gameplay is very simple. We're in 16-bit action RPG territory here. You can attack. You can block by spinning your little flute.
Mm-hmm.
You get a couple of special moves, primarily used for traversal.
Right.
That unlock kind of throughout the course of the game. You can get early access to them through collectibles. Your verb set is fairly limited in this game. And then there's a gimmick where you can transform into this gigantic Chad. At certain save points, you can switch back and forth between Will's normal form, who's a kid, and then the Dark Knight Frieden, who is twice as tall as Will, and a big sprite.
Gigantic. As far as I can tell, there's no space that is so narrow that Frieden can't get through it.
It'd be a problem in real life for Frieden, though.
It definitely would be difficult booking flights for Frieden.
Yeah. No porta potties for Frieden. Will he make it? No, he won't.
Will's basic form does the least amount of damage in combat, but you get abilities that let you maneuver around the world a little bit better. Like he's the exploration kind of guy. Well, Frieden, because he uses the Hunk-O-Matic or whatever, what is that called in Maniac Mansion?
It's called Hunk-O-Matic.
Hunk-O-Matic, there we go.
You got it.
Yeah. Uses that to be better at combat. So he's larger. He has a sword that has longer reach and does twice as much damage as Will. And his abilities are focused on combat. Like you get a charged energy shot kind of thing. You always want to take Frieden into battles, into boss battles specifically.
Wait. And you can't always take Frieden, which we'll talk about. It's one of the big kind of friction points, I think, in this game.
Yeah.
There's a third form as well. It's unlocked in like the last level. It may as well not exist. So the progress in this game, you have to kind of figure out which form you need to be in. You know, so you just camp out of this mechanic for a second because this is a primary mechanic of the game. You are incentivized to be one form during combat and one form during exploration. Those two things are always happening at roughly the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And you are incentivized to do both in that, like, I kind of like the idea of this. And I remember when as a kid. Did you play this as a kid?
No, I didn't play any of the Quintet games as a kid.
Okay. Yeah, I played all of them except for Terra Enigma. So I played this as a kid. And I remember as a kid thinking like, oh, cool. It's real fun that I get to power up. As an adult, it just felt like attacks to go back and turn back into will.
Yeah.
I would get to a ramp, like a gentle incline, and Frieden couldn't handle it. So I'd have to turn to Spinny Will, who could then get over it.
Right.
And you just have to go find the save point. This isn't the worst thing in the world. Enemies don't respawn generally. We'll talk about that. But you do spend a lot of time just kind of backtracking to flip a toggle that could have been a menu without hurting anything.
Yeah, it's kind of ends up with you doing the same dungeon 2.5 times, pretty much,
but without enemies some of the time.
Yeah, half the time.
and the dungeons aren't like great, in terms of fun places to navigate. So like, I don't understand why this isn't just a menu.
Yeah.
Like a thing you can just do, like you get a doodad, you get a ring that does it.
Yeah, there's a resource or something like that is spent. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Like a lot of stuff about this, there's an idea that I can see them gesturing at, but in implementation, it does feel... Weirdly, this feels like a game that is made for the Game Boy.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. My big thesis on this gameplay wise is that it does a bunch of stuff I hadn't seen before that is novel, but not necessarily good, in terms of gameplay stuff. And then story, we'll get to that.
Yes.
But this ends up being a little bit annoying. It's kind of cool the first time you do it. It would be cool if you could do it whenever you wanted to. And the idea of having different forms is a good one.
Yeah.
I just don't like backtracking to these little like space gates. It was a bummer.
And that interacts poorly with the dungeon designs, which are quite large, pretty simple in terms of being combat arena dungeon kind of things, mixed in with some maze and light puzzle looking things. But the anonymity of the spaces definitely does. It's a little bit of a problem. I think that the transformation system probably could have been better if they decoupled that from your like save point, heal point, because like bonfire kind of room that you get to, like place those more intelligently because you need to transform more than you need to save. It's weird. Coupling those two things together is actually like pretty bad in relation to the anonymity and kind of blandness of the spaces, right?
Yeah, a lot of mazes.
Yeah,
you had to be down for mazes in this. Part of that's just the nature of the era. Yeah. They weren't going to have cool landmarks. And a lived-in feel for these spaces. In the 16-bit, they just don't do that. But it is a bummer. Like it is, they're kind of checklists, which plays into the experience system, which we'll talk about. But the dungeons are kind of like you go where there are enemies and solve what puzzles are in your way until you get to the boss. Yeah. There's not a whole lot more to them than that. And puzzles is usually pretty generous.
Yeah. You go where there are enemies. That is an indication of where you have not been before. But with the backtracking, everybody's
until you have to
gone.
Backtrack.
And the enemies roughly kind of define these spaces, with the encounter design that is present here. So going back through, especially some of the later dungeons, especially the one with the water level. kind of thing, which instantly takes a section of a game to me, down 1.5 letter grades.
Yeah. Generally, manipulating a water level is something that it's not even fun when you're taking a bath. It's really necessary to taking a bath. Like you have to raise the water level before you can unlock the bath.
Yeah,
but it's not fun.
No,
to raise and lower that water level.
No, not really at all.
Dungeons they're not war crimes.
No.
It's about standard for the era, I would say. Yeah. What's kind of interesting and plays in this, and again, interesting is the operative word. I don't necessarily think this works particularly well. No money, no gear in this. The RPG of the action RPG of this is very light. No XP. In Soul Blazer, you had to kill every enemy and every enemy spawning node to move on. Here, you don't have to. But if you kill every enemy on a screen, you get a gem that increases one of your stats. So XP is tied to completionism of an area.
Yes.
And in some ways, I think this is really cool. You can't grind. Enemies don't respawn. The game is setting the strength level you'll be at for every encounter. Yeah. That is good. That's a cool idea. It means, though, because the way this interacts with puzzles, this drove me nuts in terms of the tax of switching guys, because navigation puzzles, you need to be Will. If an enemy is just out of Will's reach and you need the sword to get him, I now had to make another trip back to the store to switch into Frieden to clear all the guys to get the level up.
Yeah, because
I want the level up.
I don't want to move on because I do not know that I can afford to miss very many
and you can't go
of
back.
these. Right.
Like that's another thing with this is you very rarely can go back, which again I kind of respect, but it's weird. I'd never seen a thing where it's like you get a bespoke stat for killing every enemy in a screen and then you move on.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, like kind of a milestone-based XP system that's kind of forward-thinking.
Yeah.
Because of how it interacts with the other systems, like I don't think it's very fun.
Yeah.
In how it works, it just ends up feeling taxy. Like that's neat, and then just nothing else.
Yeah.
You know,
we should say enemies will respawn if you like leave an entire area and come back or die. But you cannot like leave, come back, initiate the respawning, go and get experience again. Clearing out a room again doesn't give you the little gem that raises one of your three stats there: the health, attack, or defense.
Yes,
and you really want the health ones because that will fill up your health meter. Getting one of those in clutch actually is a meaningful reward.
Yes. Yeah. And, the game is not, there are frustrating bosses that you want to have these stats for.
Yes.
In the end. No money or anything either.
Right.
So you're not picking up things from this other than that XP. You are sometimes finding healing items that you cannot buy. You can find herbs in this. Again, a thing I kind of respect. There are a finite number of herbs in the game.
Yes.
You cannot get unlimited ones. Mm-hmm. I like that idea. You have to call your shots when you use them. I don't know what threats are after the threat that I'm facing.
Right.
So like it's a cool idea, but I don't know. It's like the thing I want applied to X potions, but applied to every potion.
Yeah.
Right. Like I want to risk using an X potion because I might need it later, but I'm going to use it now because I'm in trouble. Mm-hmm. But I can do the baseline of healing. Yeah. You cannot do the baseline of healing in this if you run out of herbs. And they're pretty generous. I didn't run out of herbs, but like it's a weird system for that. Again, kind of respect it, but I don't like how it feels. I don't like playing with it very much.
Yeah. When you're hunting down all of the enemies, there is a quote map in the game. Like it will show you something when you press the start button. It doesn't show you any level geometry at all.
No,
it's just a radar of relative position of where you are in relation to the enemies, represented as fun little ghoul icons.
Yes. And this is, basically I need to go to the upper left. Mm-hmm. That's the forward progress way.
Right.
If this had level geometry, I don't think it would be broken and be fine. Again, I'm not sure what's going on. The other big thing you find in this other than herbs are red jewels. This is a collectible that you do for multiple reasons. You unlock level ups through it. You get some moves earlier than you ordinarily would, which is really interesting. Like you're going to get them. And then if you get all of them, you get a bonus dungeon and you get to fight the first boss of Soul Blazer.
Yes.
The way that these work is also, I think, a little awkwardly integrated into the game.
Yeah.
These are spawned from a variety of different ways. Some of them are just rewards for treasure chests and stuff like you might expect. A lot of them are like bespoke NPC interactions in town.
Yeah.
Some of which only have a percentage chance of appearing. Mm-hmm. So if you are, I'm not a completionist. If you're a completionist, I imagine this game fucking killing you.
Yep.
I was reading about it. In the first village, a little fisherman. I ran to a little fisherman, gave me a red gem, and I was like, cool. And then when I was reading about the game to refresh my memory, people were complaining about the fisherman. And I was like, what's that guy's problem? He's just a fisherman who gives you a jewel. Yeah. And then found out he has like an 8% chance of spawning. And if you want to get it, you go in and out of the cave to keep rolling those dice.
Oh, no.
And you can never go back. Like that kind of always forward momentum thing. Again, a cool idea that I kind of respect.
Yeah.
But if you actually want to get all this stuff, including like a unique boss fight and a unique dungeon, you just can't.
Yeah.
And then there's a narrative choice you had to fucking make to get a gem about halfway through the game that dropped my jaw. You have to go round up an escaped slave and put them back into slavery to get one of these gems.
Yeah.
So kids,
hey, kids,
if you would like to fight the bonus boss, you have to become a slaver. we'll get into that when we start talking about the tone and story stuff. But like, it's a weird choice. It's strange. I kind of respect it. I don't think it works though.
Not that you have to find and catch a slave.
I respect the shit out of that.
Okay,
that's it's a weird choice, but I respect it. I respect it, baby.
I'll fight with my life to defend.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I may not agree with it, but just different opinions. But yeah, it's weird. Weird. I do like the gemmonger. I like Gem the Jeweler, the weird disguised, like otherworldly creature that accepts your gems.
Yep. Yeah, pretty good. Always showing up as a different sprite. Wherever they are, and they even say, I may not look the same in the next town. That is just the level of menace that I want, actually.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
There is an adventure game like inventory system, but doesn't factor in very much. It's mostly just where you keep your plot coupons, where you have those jewels until you turn them in. What happens if you use the jewels out in the world?
Nothing.
Nothing? It just clears that inventory spot?
I don't know if you can. I don't think it does anything.
Yeah,
there are a couple points in the game where if you get gifted a mandatory item and you have jewels, birds will come and fly them to Gem the Jeweler.
Weird.
For you. Yeah, so it doesn't fuck with your inventory.
You can
again. Why limited inventory? This limited in that case.
You can use the gems out of your inventory, and will like hold it up, and then shatter it. Like moats kind of go elsewhere, and you get a nonsensical image or a nonsensical text that is like using the red jewels draws red jewels to you or something like that.
Weird. I don't know. I didn't fuck around with that.
Yeah.
Very much. That's strange. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't know. Like, it almost doesn't feel like there should be an inventory.
Yeah.
In this. Like, inventory is limited. You have 16 slots. You're finding these things. Theoretically, you will end up in situations where it's like, well, I may as well use a herb because I really want this red gem to be here. But that never manifests. I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't like inventory management was a concern really in this, because you have 2 inventory items and then a couple like little plot things that you get. It's awkward. It feels awkward.
I think awkward is a really good descriptor for a lot of the game.
Yeah. It's a little awkward, like kind of neat, really awkward.
No.
The big mechanical thing, this is a navigation ability, but Will has telekinesis.
Yes.
He spins a flute and he can move statues left and right. In my mind, this was a big part of the game, like in my memory. And it's because I was remembering the opening scene where he could do it. And as a kid, I thought that was super cool. They forget about this so fucking quick.
The fact that he's a little psychic boy.
Yeah. He gets psychic powers during cutscene stuff, but the fact that he has telekinesis for statues specifically doesn't come up. I was like, I'm going to be doing lots of like Sokoban shit.
Yeah.
You do a couple, but like you just totally forgets that your guy has TK powers.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's not appreciably different from pushing crates around.
No. It just makes it's less work for him.
Yeah. It's mind powers. Yeah. But like this is a very slight mechanical game, right? The generalities here are going to be, we're kind of halfway through. We're getting to the aesthetics now. Visually, it's fine. It's colorful. It does feel a little bit behind where the SNES library was in 1994, 1993 when this came out. But I'm not talking about like fidelity. I'm just talking about, I don't know, like tile variety in order to make any part of a dungeon feel different from any other part of the dungeon.
That's a problem. I also think that there's a problem with character animations and character posture specifically.
Yeah.
Everyone looks like a robot.
Yes.
They all move on the same skeleton that's very mechanical through that. And these are larger sprites than, say, a Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy VI. But if you contrast those games, those characters had a lot of personality.
Right.
They would stop and make expressions. They'd wink. They'd wag their finger. They love wagging their finger.
Oh, yeah.
If there's one thing Edgar likes doing, it's turned towards me and wagging his finger. These characters don't have that.
No.
Everyone seems like a weird, like Playmobil character to me. A little bit.
Yeah. Like the music in this, it does more with percussion than I associate the NES or SNES sound palette with doing, which is neat. It kind of lends to, the ancient kind of feel of the spaces that you're in. Good soundtrack.
Yeah. Just a perfectly cromulent soundtrack.
Yeah.
Does the work. Narratively, it's worth talking about this in a general sense before we get into the actual spoilers. Because this is Quintet's trick. You know, Quintet they do games that seem like they're going to be an incredibly straight putt and then are kind of sad and have like an air to them. You know, we're starting out, we just have plucky kid adventures. Your kid is 3 anonymous friends, and they go fight a space meteor. Like that's just video games in the 16-bit era.
Yeah.
You know, but then they throw in these little things that are batting above its weight class.
Yeah.
Like these really, you know, sad or tragic moments, things that deal with bigger issues than other studios were doing, which makes me feel about these games. My kind of narrative, you know, treatise on these are excellent for children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like more so than other games like this. You know, being a kid and having, you know, running into slavery in a video game was very impactful as a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid for me, 13, 14-year-old. Would have been 14. But very, very impactful. That's cool. There's value in exposing kids to these kind of like melancholy, slightly more sophisticated carbs.
Yeah.
In their story, rather than just like, are you a bad enough dude to rebel and save the world against the big evil thing?
Right.
You know, it's, as an adult trying to read it as a text, it's let down a lot by the really uncanny thing that I didn't notice the first time I played, but I couldn't not notice this whole time. Your characters don't react to anything.
No.
It's weird.
This is the opposite problem that we have usually, which is like, oh my God, stop reacting, please.
And like, you can kind of see what they're doing. Like, oh, in this world, these children are so downtrodden, I guess, that slavery is just normal. Cannibalism is just normal.
Yeah.
You know, all these things are not that weird to them. But like the whole time I was playing it, I was like, and this is something you don't want, but I was like, I was doing the Joss Whedon, like, are we going to talk about the cannibal clan we just escaped from? Like, why aren't you guys concerned about this?
Their blasé reaction to one of the things that happens to one of their friends is, I mean, like, I really enjoy what happens to the tone with that one in particular, but it is it does lend this kind of uncanny feeling to it to a certain degree. Yeah,
it lowers the stakes for me.
Yeah,
like this is a game that is concerned with asking bigger questions than most games of its cohort, and then it is populated with non-characters.
Yeah.
Who don't react to things that they go through like a little arc, but they're very mono, you know, like, and part of that's translation, part of that's the era it came from. But again, there are other games that came out around this time that I think the characters had stronger voices and did react to things.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm not, you bring out Final Fantasy 4 in this. When something would happen to the characters in that game, the characters would feel it. And that lent a feeling of them being friends and real people.
Yeah.
Doesn't really happen in this. They don't, you know, every once in a while they'll talk about something, but they're more like, I have the back of my phone case is a Michael Cooperman comic where it's Hercules and Dracula together at last. And Hercules says, I'm going to go help those people with Jan Cart. And Dracula says, do as you like. I'd rather suck their blood. And that's what these characters are like. Like, oh, this sucked, but I'm going to get back to my romance side plot. You know, like they're not together ever.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a unit. It's really strange. It feels uncanny and like uncanny derogatory to me.
Yeah.
Whereas like the things they're reacting to, like going into a town and having there be, you know, a slaver's den is uncanny, non-derogatory.
Yeah.
Like to me, that does work. But the combination is awkward as an adult trying to read it as like a text.
Yeah, I'm not saying uncanny like non-derogatory or uncanny positive on this. I'm just more saying like just generally there is a distance to it that works in some instances and doesn't work in the others.
Yeah.
For me, just kind of appreciating it, you know, even trying to put myself in the time. You know, this game came out when I was 8, which is probably a little bit on the young side. This feels like a 10 or 12. You know, kind of game to me a little bit. But you know, trying to put myself in the mind, like if I was roughly my age now playing this back then, how would I feel? How would I relate to this? Because I'm terrified of being misunderstood. I want to, you know, say for you, Gary, I guess, when you say this would be good for kids, what you are not saying is if you like this or have good memories of it, you are still childish.
No. Yeah. This has a bigger impact before you have been exposed to some of these ideas.
Yes.
The like what you like. I was looking forward to going back to this. I liked this a lot as a kid. I ended up feeling awkward because I'm thinking about it more as an adult, but running into those things did have a big impact.
Yeah.
As a child. And I think that there's value in that, right? Like, there's a reason why sad children's media is different than sad adult media.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the Neverending Story is different than, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. One of them, like in Neverending Story, you watch that and like, oh man, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
There's this swamp of loss and he just has to tank it. Like that's crazy. Everyone is losing their mind at the end of the world, and they've all resigned themselves to it. That's wild. Like that is a weird thing for a children's movie to do, and as a kid that'll have a huge influence.
Yeah.
As an adult, it's like, Rockbiter. And then there's Baby Rockbiter in the second one. That's weird. And the third one, I think, has a lady Rockbiter who has tits, like rock tits. That's what you get as an adult. Because I've internalized all of the lessons it's trying to teach me.
Yeah.
About, like, I know there's slavery. I know that something that looks like it is, a paradise on the surface is built on slave labor. It's selling past the clothes to me.
Yeah.
As a kid, though, it's a valuable kind of thing to launder into an action RPG.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
that's what I mean.
My version of this, that I got was Final Fantasy IV, right? And that was pretty much just, you're going to very strongly feel the loss of your friends as they sacrifice themselves for you, but you're going to find them and they're going to be okay later.
Yeah. Just like in real life.
Yeah.
The opposite of a lesson, it'll grow back. Right.
Yeah.
I think this takes that further into more real spaces in a way that I think is braver and cooler than the story of like Final Fantasy IV, which I also loved.
Yes.
I think it was doing new things with that, which I think is part of the reason why these games have that reputation.
Yeah, there's a bizarreness to the things that happen here. And, listen to us cover the previous ones as well, Soul Blazer and then Terra Enigma, specifically the goat scene with Terra Enigma, right? Like there is just a bone deep melancholy and a statement about the world that is happening in that. Yes. That is just rare. And Quintet, like, weirdly is willing to take those swings. And it's a shame that it is undercut by the translation.
Undercut by the translation, undercut a little bit by storage limits as well.
Yes.
I think is a big part of it. I think the translation draws a lot of heat for this. I also just think there just aren't enough words.
Yeah.
There isn't enough text for the depth of story they're trying to tell. And then the kind of, you can tell that kind of story visually, but they don't.
Yeah.
Again, with those kind of limited sprites and limited, how characters look and how places look, they also don't tell the story visually.
Yeah. It's the feeling that I get across this entire thing narratively is that it's a bit crushed. Right?
Yeah.
They wanted to get something across that just wouldn't get through the filter in the same shape that they intended. Right?
Yeah. And I feel like if you wanted to there would have been ways to do that and scale back.
Yes.
Some of it. Some of these themes, it kind of has something I associate with Japanese narratives of this era a lot, where everything has to eventually become a cosmic scale.
Yes.
Thing. And if it didn't do that, you would be able to do this just fine. If you were not trying to tie this into Gaia theory, bullshit.
As was the style at the time.
I'm well and truly sick of it. But if you weren't trying to do that and we're just trying to get across these ideas about, this is a game about like, should humanity make it? And it's, you could have done that on a micro scale and had it much more effective as a text.
Yeah.
I think. But instead you have to, turn into 3 different weird creatures and then, go fight a gigantic space meteor thing.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a cop out too, playing in those spaces and then saying, oh, it's all a meteor done it. Meteors. We wouldn't have this if it wasn't for meteors. Yeah.
Meteors suck. If it's always going to be a gigantic meteor man comes down and fights you.
Yeah. Blah. So this is Quintet's 4th game for the SNES, following ActRaiser, Soul Blazer, and ActRaiser 2. The last of those came out in the same year as this. We've covered all of those except for ActRaiser 2. including the other ones in this trilogy. So we did Soul Blazer in 2013. That's one that came before this. Then we did the one that came after this, Terra Enigma. We covered that in 2022. That did not come to North America contemporaneously. That had to come over as a ROM and a translation. Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a shooter for ActRaiser 2, but I'm not going to do it for the show. I think it's a fairly fun, stiff Castlevania-like platformer. The story was written by a Japanese sci-fi author, Mirko Ohara, and she did an interview about this game that was translated to English, but the website that hosted it is dead, so we cannot get it. There's surprisingly little text on this game for something that is so well loved. It is hard to do research about it.
Yes. There are forum conversations about the interview that say it's not anything huge. There's no revelation about the process or what was intended. The one thing that I can find is that it name checks the movie Stand By Me. What I want is like an oral history or some kind of broader exploration of specifically the effect that Stand By Me had on Japanese culture, because it pops up everywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's so weird thinking about this game specifically has influenced it, because Stand By Me is a very small movie. And Stand By Me also has, characters that when you see a text box, you can tell who's saying it. Whereas that's not the case here.
Right.
Like, it feels like it's influenced by Stand By Me, but there's also a lot of other Gaia theory stuff we wanted to throw in there. Again, as was the style at the time, but I don't think it helps. I don't think it's like... No. It doesn't match with the more interesting thing this game is doing. Yeah.
There was a leaked prototype version of the English localization that hit the web. Reveals some details about the development. That version is from about 3 months before the U.S. release. This was before Nintendo took it on and published it. This was published by Enix over in Japan, and these details are pulled from the cutting room floor. Amazing resource.
Yeah, great website. So originally, officially a sequel. It used to be called Soul Blazer: Illusion of Gaia. That makes sense. They're dealing in similar thematic spaces, and like a character from that appears in this. If you collect all the gems and you round up all the escaped slaves, the title. I mean, it's true.
I know.
Like it's fucking in this game. It's weird. The title and logo design we got done by Nintendo to make this more like Zelda. Which makes sense. And the original translation was apparently better. Nintendo made changes that were in line with their censorship policies. So I'm still a little skeptical that the Japanese translation of this would work fully as a text. I think those structural problems would still be a thing. I'm not skeptical that it would be better, or that I'm not saying that the translation has nothing to do with it.
Right.
I'm just, I tend to bristle at the idea of translation is the only and, every problem for any game that has an awkward script.
It's weirdly this unfalsifiable thesis.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think it's used as such, this idea of like, well, of course it is genius. We just got the bastardized version of it. And like Castlevania 2 was a big step in unlocking that for me. Or like, tearing that down for me. But also when you look at this, it's not just the prose, there's structural issues. There's scale issues with this that I think undercut it a lot.
So this sold about twice as well as Soul Blazer did. It was a huge hit for Quintet. Reviews put it, kind of strongly in the B range, when it came out, which feels about right to me.
Super right for 16. Like this was a B Super Nintendo game, 100%. Like, that's exactly what this felt like.
Quintet would release a few more games for the SNES and PlayStation era, but then they just kind of dried up. They became a support studio for Sega and for Koei before going inactive in 2002.
The incredible indignity of such a thing. So that's about it for the generalities. It's pretty short. It's a mechanically simple game. This part. We're going to go through the plot and play by play what works and what doesn't, but that is for patrons. If you are hearing this and you'd like to become a patron, go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Give us $5 a month. You get all those juicy bonus episodes.
If you have thoughts about this game, it is too late to write in about that. But if you have thoughts about September's games, which are Super Bomberman 2, City of Heroes, and Fable 2, the deadline for that is September the 15th. Go to duckfeed.tv/contact to write in. Fable 2 is the premium game for that month.
And next week, we'll be announcing our October Spooky Suite. Yeah, including the return, long requested by us, Return of Topics episodes.
Yeah.
Excited about that.
Should be a good time. Can't think of much else to say other than leave a rating or review wherever you're listening to this, and tell your friends.
Yeah, and join us in thanking Gwen.
Thank you, Gwen.
And we will see you next week.